good, y'all? Today, we are going to be taking a look at the top 5 loadouts to run inside of Warzone. Now, without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into it because I don't want to take up too much of your time and I want you guys to be able to take this and get straight back to playing Warzone because we all know that Warzone is fire as hell and it's probably one of the best BRs that I've played, and this is coming from somebody who's played Cuisine Royale, Fortnite, Apex. This BR is insane. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's start with the first loadout and a little disclaimer. Hadir's right hand, my HDR setup is actually consistent across all 5 of these loadouts, and the attachments are the same because I don't care what you say or what you want to use. In any BR, the general consensus is you need to have a ranged weapon that can put in that work, and the HDR is consistent in all ranges of the BR. So, the HDR is indeed the best sniper to use at range. That's just it. It's the best one. The thermal variable scope that you get, along with the unbelievably broken range and accuracy that you get, is unmatched. But without further ado, let's get into the first loadout and look at the Casanova variant of the P90, and then after that are the other 4. So, getting right into it, we have the monolithic suppressor, the forged tech retribution for the barrel, the granulated grip tape, fully loaded, and fly strap. Now, I'm gonna let you know right now that if you do not run fully loaded on your weapons for Warzone, you are missing out. Because yeah, you can pick up ammo along the way, but fully loaded needs to be on every single one of your weapons. Just make that sacrifice and put it on there. Because as much as you think you're gonna just run across and pick up ammo in Warzone, you're not. You can go to 59,000 supply drops, and you're never gonna get as much ammo unless you sit over there and kill somebody using the exact same ammo type as you that just happen to have 100 or 200 extra rounds in reserves, and then you just kind of you max out yours. So if you're running your custom loadout, put fully loaded on all your weapons. Trust me, you will thank me later. You're not going to want to run anything else after that. But the P90 is definitely one of the top SMGs that you can use for SMG specifically. You will most likely have to rely on the HDR more for mid-range and long-range engagements because you won't be able to really nuke somebody at mid-range to long-range with the P90. However, up close, they are toast. You will literally run them over. You just hit them so fast with so much damage that it burns through their armor and then burns through their health. The idea behind these loadouts that I'm giving you are being able to burn through the armor, because the armor is the main thing. The health isn't a problem, but the armor is the issue. You need to be able to burn through that armor and hurry up and get to their health bar, because the first one to burn through the armor wins. That's guaranteed. So definitely the P90 for SMGs is one of the top SMGs right now for Warzone, bar none. But without further ado, let's go on ahead and get to selection number 2. Alright, moving on to selection number 2, we have the Blowtorch LMG. And for the life of me, I keep forgetting the name of this LMG. Let me check real quick while we're here. The MG34. This is the one you want to use. Just coincidentally, when you spawn into Warzone, you actually get this thing dropped pretty frequently out of the beginning supply drops. So you can actually be fine by just picking this thing up. But the high fire rate plus the damage and the unbelievable accuracy at range just melts through people's armor. And being able to have high magazines with this weapon is outrageous, because in the Battle Royale, the playstyle is completely different from that of Ground War and multiplayer. You're not really focused on getting your weapon ADS speed up as fast as possible. You need to be focused on having as much ammo as possible because you need to last for the long run. Getting your weapon up fast enough isn't going to matter if you don't have the ammo to back it up. So having this LMG being able to push rounds down range at nearly light speed of that of an SMG, and then being able to keep the damage consistent to that of an AR, but have the damage range of that of a sniper is outrageous. And you'll notice a trend here that a lot of the weapons that are considered trash in Ground War and multiplayer are just outstanding in Warzone because of the way the Warzone is built and the way the Warzone is played. And yet again, we have the Hadir's right hand as backup, and we're going to take a look at the attachments. Muzzle brake, the FSS Elite barrel, the Merc foregrip, Forge Tack Stalker, and even though I do not have the LMG leveled up, obviously you already know I would have fully loaded right there, no questions. So while we're here, let's go ahead and look at the perks. Obviously we're running Quick Fix, Overkill, and Amped, and then we have a Claymore in case we need to lock down a building, or we just happen to be the last ones inside of the, you know, the decently sized circle, and we need to lock down a couple of doors to make sure that we don't get backdoored. And then we have a stem as our tactical, just in case we need to, you know, replenish some health because we just got lit up or something. And without further ado, let's go ahead and move on to our third loadout of today. Alright, moving on to the third loadout, we are now at the ARs. Here's the thing. When choosing an AR, you don't want to choose a bullet hose. A lot of people are going to gravitate towards the M4 because that's what they use in Ground War, that's what they use in multiplayer, 6v6, 10v10, that's what they use. However, you got to keep in mind that you need to be able to burn through armor quickly, and you also need to be able to pump a lot of damage downrange, because when you shoot one person, you're most likely going to attract the attention of everybody around you, whether it's the two squad mates that are following behind the person you shot, or the vast amount of people that are sitting around you. It's 150 people in this BR. So if you're going to attack somebody, you need to be able to put the damage downrange and get them out of the way quick. And no weapon in the BR does it like this. The headshot damage is outrageous, and being able to just burn through armor as quickly as possible as you can with this thing, and then automatically just melt that man to the chest, is exactly what I'm looking for in an AR. It's exactly what you should be looking for in an AR. And the Scar H right here, this thing is nasty. So let's go ahead and look at the attachments real quick. We have the muzzle for the compensator. We have a Forge Tack 17.2-inch LB barrel. We have the tactical foregrip to enhance our accuracy and enhance our control, also giving us just a little bit of range, not necessary but definitely welcome. We have fully loaded, obviously, and we're running the FSS close quarter stock just to give us a little bit more mobility so that it doesn't seem like we lose too much for gaining everything else. Also, we're going to take a look at the HDR real quick just so you know exactly what I'm running on the HDR. I have the monolithic suppressor, the 26.9-inch HDR Pro barrel, the bipod fully loaded, and a thermal dual power variable zoom scope, because dear God, if you could have seen some of the pics that I was getting yesterday with this thing, you would have been sold. It's ridiculous. Now, moving on to the very last but not least loadout, the MP7. Oh, I'm kidding. You really thought it was the last one? No, it's not the last one. We got two more. Let's get into it. Alright. Starting off with the fourth loadout of today, we have the FAL. Yes, another weapon that would considerably be garbage in multiplayer and Ground War, but in Warzone is nasty because it pumps high damage from long range, and you're able to just pick off whoever you want to and get it done and out of the way immediately. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look into the attachments that I'm running here. We have the muzzle brake, the XRK marksman barrel, the tactical foregrip to help with the vertical recoil, fully loaded obviously because you know me, I'm always fully loaded. And then we have a standard reflex sight. You can choose whatever you want to put there. I just go with the reflex because I'm not a big fan of putting scopes on my weapons, but this weapon's iron sights are just trash, so you gotta have a scope. This is the one I chose. But as you can see, the FAL is typically just going to run somebody over. As long as you get the jump, even if you don't get the jump, being able to put accurate shots down range while everybody else is spraying inaccurate bullet hoses across the map is it. You can't underestimate that, and you don't want to, trust me, you don't want to be the person getting beamed by the FAL while you think you're all cool and stuff running an M4 in Warzone. Don't do that. Do not be that guy. Run the FAL, be happy, and nuke everybody you want to. But without further ado, let's go ahead and move to the last loadout of today, the MP7. Alright, and here we are with the MP7. Now, the entire idea behind the MP7 is having a bullet hose for short combat range. You, with this build, just like the P90, are most likely going to want to rely on the HDR for mid to long range engagements. And when I say mid to long range, I don't mean somebody who's across the street. I mean somebody who's on the roof, you know, 2 blocks away from where you're at. That's mid to long range. use the HDR for that. But when you happen to get into those CQC engagements and you know the second you turn a corner there's going to be somebody sitting right there, you need something that's going to mow through that man's armor so you don't get barrel stuffed by his SCAR or AK-47. And if you need something that's going to do that, then it's going to be the MP7 or the P90. I prefer the MP7, but a lot of people prefer the accuracy of the P90, so definitely run the P90 if you prefer the accuracy. If you are a god and you, like me, can control the vertical recoil on this thing, then the MP7 is going to be your best bet, and that's the one that you're going to want to use. And obviously we have the HDR as backup. We have the best perk selection possible with quick fix to get us our health back, overkill so we can run the HDR, amp so that we can swap in case we have to hurry up and deal with somebody on the roof, the claymore to block off the doors, and the stem to get our health back. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave a like, make sure you do subscribe, as it does help the channel grow, and we'd love to have more people in the community. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care.